Good morning, students. Once again, I welcome you all on my YouTube channel. Today, we are going to resume the fourth chapter of Flamingo. The name of the chapter is The Rat Trap. The Rat Trap is written by Selma Lagerlof. Before resuming the story, let us revise where we have stopped. A man went round selling small rat traps of wire. His business was not profitable. He had to take to begging or small thieving sometimes. His life was very sad. During his wandering, he often thought of his rat traps. One day, he began to think that the whole world was just a big rat trap. Some people were already caught in the trap, while others were still circling around the bat. One dark evening, this tramp took shelter with a lonely old man who lived in a little cottage by the roadside. The man served him generously the whole night. But while leaving in the morning, the tramp stole the old man's 30 kroner placed in a leather pouch. In order to escape being caught, the tramp took his way through a forest. But it was a confusing forest. By evening, he found that he had been roaming about the same place from where he had started. He was feeling death tired. The tramp recalled the 30 kroner in his pocket. He thought about the world as a rat trap. Now he thought that his own turn had come. It was the time of late December evening. It was getting dark, and he was afraid. Suddenly, he heard the hard, regular thumping of a hammer. He got up and walked in the direction of the sound. It was a forgery of the Ramsjo ironwork. The master smith allowed him to stay there and warn himself. He was in wet rags and had a long beard. But suddenly, the ironmaster came on his nightly inspection. When he looked at the stranger closely, he took him for an old regimental acquaintance. Captain Wanstell, he said in surprise. He pressed him hard to go with him to his home. But the tramp felt embarrassed and he refused firmly. At last, the ironmaster went away. Now let us resume from where we have left. It was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheel outside the forge, and new guest came in. So after the departure of the ironmaster, it was not more than half an hour before they heard the sound of carriage wheels outside the forge, and a new guest came in. But this time it was not the master. So after the departure of ironmaster, his daughter, she came in to convince the peddler to go to ironmaster house. So she came in the carriage wheels. He had sent his daughter apparently hoping that she would have better powers of persuasion than himself. So the ironmaster, he had sent his daughter. Obviously, he hoped that his daughter would convince the peddler to come to his house. She entered, followed by a valet. Valet means here attendant, carrying on his arm a big fur coat. The daughter of ironmaster, she entered along with his attendant, who was carrying on his arm a big fur coat. She was not at all pretty, but she modest. Modest means humble and quite shy. The daughter of the ironmaster, she was not beautiful. She was not pretty, but she was very humble and quite shy. In the forge, everything was just as it had been earlier in the evening. The master blacksmith and his apprentice still sat on their bench, and iron and charcoal still glowed in the furnace. The stranger had stretched himself out on the floor and lay with a piece of pig iron under his head and his head pulled down over his eyes. So when the daughter of ironmaster, when she came in, she found the peddler, the vagabond. He was sleeping, putting his head on the pig iron and his head pulled down over his eyes. As soon as the young girl caught sight of him, she went up and lifted his head. So the daughter of ironmaster, as soon as she saw him. She went up and lifted his head. The man was evidently means obviously, used to sleeping with one eye open. He jumped up abruptly means suddenly. He jumped up suddenly and seemed to be quite frightened. So, looking at the daughter of Anne Master, he was frightened and he suddenly jumped up. My name is Edla Williamson, the young girl said. So, the daughter of Anne Master, she introduced herself as Edla Williamson, and she told the peddler that her father had come home and said that he wanted to sleep there in the forge that night, and then she asked permission to come and bring the peddler home to them. She had told the peddler that it was her father who had told her that peddler didn't want to come to his house, so she had herself come to convince him. So I am so sorry, Captain, that you are having such a hard time. So she felt very sad at the condition of the peddlers. She also thought that the peddler was the comrade of her father. So she was feeling sad at the condition as the peddler was having such a hard time in his life. He was struggling. She looked at him very compassionately. So the daughter of the ironmaster, she looked at him, at the peddler, sympathetically, showing pity at his condition. With her heavy eyes, and this she noticed that the man was afraid. So see, the daughter, she noticed, she observed that peddler was afraid. He was scared. Either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail. From the body language of peddler, the daughter of the ironmaster, she realized that either the peddler had stolen something or he had escaped from jail, as he was not keeping eye to eye contact. She thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain." So she raised her doubt that he might be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave us just as freely as you came. So, by convincing him, she made it sure that whenever the peddler wanted to leave her house, he could, just like he would be allowed to leave their house as freely as he would come. And she only requested him, only please stay with us over Christmas Eve. So the daughter of the ironmaster, she requested him to come over just for spending Christmas Eve. She said this in such a friendly manner that the red trap peddler must have felt confidence in her. So the daughter, she requested the peddler in such a friendly manner, in a lovingly and friendly manner, that the red trap peddler, he had felt confidence in her. All his doubts disappeared, vanished. It would never occur to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss. So the peddler, he replied that by showing the friendly manner, by showing the in a loving manner, the way she requested him, so it would never have occurred to him that she would bother him. So he said that he would come at once immediately. So the peddler accepted the fur coat which the personal attendant, handed him with a deep bow, with respect, and the peddler, he threw it over his clothes, and he followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the surprised blacksmith so much as glance. So the blacksmith, he was surprised at the request made by the daughter, and so just he made a glance at the peddler. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil foreboding. Evil foreboding means some ill omen, we can say. He was predicting some evil. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? So the peddler, now he cursed himself when he saw the sympathy and kindness of the daughter. So he cursed himself that why the devil he had taken that fellow. He should not have taken the money of that fellow. Now he was sitting in the trap and would never get out of it. So the peddler, he thought that now he realized that now he was sitting in the trap and he would never get out of it. By taking money he had trapped himself. The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the ironmaster came into dining room for breakfast, he probably thought with satisfaction of his old regimental comrade, means peddler, whom he had run across, whom he had come across so unexpectedly. So the next day, the ironmaster, when he came to his dining room for breakfast, he thought about his old friend, Miss Peddler, and to whom he had come across accidentally, unexpectedly. He had never expected that they would meet again after so many years. So he told his daughter, first of all, so he told his daughter that first of all they must see to it that the peddler gets a little flesh on his bones. Means he instructed his daughter to feed the peddler well because he was very thin, physically so weak. So he instructed his daughter to feed him well. He said to his daughter, who was busy at the table, and then he also instructed that they must see that the peddler gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat trap. So not only the iron master he was thinking about feeding him well, but also he was thinking about finding some other occupation to earn his livelihood. So he didn't want him to run around selling the rat trap. It is queer, it is strange. The daughter even she raised doubts to her father and master by saying that it is strange that things have gone downhill with him as badly as that. So even the daughter she showed concern at the condition of the peddler when she said that it is very strange that how the things have gone worse in the life of the peddler as he had to struggle to earn his livelihood. But she also raised her doubt that the previous night she didn't think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man. Even the daughter also raised her doubt that the way the peddler behaved, he didn't seem educated. So she raised doubt at the peddler being a comrade, a regimental comrade. You must have patience, my little girl. When the daughter of Iron Master Messi raised doubt over the credibility, whether he was a comrade or not, a regimental comrade or not, the father, the Iron Master, he asked his daughter to show some patience. Why? Because he was not cleanly dressed. Okay? As soon as he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. So the father, the ironmaster, he told her that why she had doubt because he had not dressed in that good clothes. But as soon as he gets clean and dressed up, she would see something different. So last night he was naturally embarrassed. So he believed that the peddler was embarrassed. The tramp manners will fall away from him with the tramp clothes. So why the ironmaster told his daughter that the reason why she had it out because of his tramp clothes. The moment he would remove his tramp clothes, even the manners of tramp, the wanderers, vagabond, peddler would also fall away. Just as he said this, the door opened and the stranger entered. So, when he was clearing the doubt of his daughter, the moment the door opened and the stranger entered. And yes, now the peddler was truly clean and well dressed. The attendant, the personal attendant of the ironmaster, had given him bath, he had cut his hair, he had given him shave, and moreover, the peddler was dressed in a good looking suit of clothes which was given by the ironmaster. So he wore a white shirt and a starch collar and whole shoes. So now the whole identity, the whole personality of the peddler was changed after giving bath and after giving clothing by the ironmaster and shoes also. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the ironmaster didn't seem pleased. So even though the peddler was looking very well groomed, looking clean and carefully dressed, but the ironmaster was not pleased when he looked the change of personality totally. So he looked at him with puckered bow. Pakad means with he raised his eyebrow. Pakad bro means he raised his eyebrow with a doubt. And it was easy to understand that when he had seen the strange fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake. Now the master he realized that he could not be able to identify the identity of the peddler under the light of furnace, under the faint light of furnace. So he might have made a mistake in judging the peddler, but that now when he stood there in broad daylight, it was impossible to make him for an old acquaintance. But after giving him his suit and shoes, after changing his personality, when he looked at the peddler in a broad daylight, it was impossible for him to make a mistake in judging the identity, the personality of an peddler. He suddenly realized that he had made a mistake in judging peddler as his regimental comrade. What does this mean? He thundered. He thundered means he roared. He became angry, and with anger, he just said, "What does this mean?" Suddenly, he came to know that the peddler was not his friend, comrade. The stranger made no attempt to dissimulate, to hide his feeling, to hide his identity. The stranger, when he found that the ironmaster looked very angry, realizing that he was not his friend, he didn't try to hide his identity, pretend. He saw at once that the splendor had come to an end. The peddler realized that all the glory of getting good food, clothes had come to an end. All the glory of treating himself as a comrade. And it is not my fault, sir, he said. The peddler, he tried to convince the ironmaster that it was not his fault. He explained to the ironmaster that it was not his fault. He had never pretended to be anything but a poor trader. And he even pleaded and begged to be allowed to stay in the fort. So here the peddler, he tried to explain that he was not guilty, he was innocent, because he never pretended to be a comrade. He just insisted that he was a trader only. Even he pleaded and he went back to allow him to stay in the mill, in the forge. But even it was not too late. Even he said that no harm has been done. And at worst, even he requested him to allow him to put on his rags again and go away. So the peddler, even he requested that no harm has been done, still he has not even stolen anything, so he should be allowed to go. But the ironmaster, he hesitated a little, and it was not quite honest. He believed that the peddler was not honest enough. If he was honest, then he should have committed, he should have told. You must admit, he should have admitted that he was a peddler, but he should not be surprised if the sheriff would like to have something to say in the matter. So he threatened the ironmaster, he now threatened the peddler that he would call the sheriff and he would hand him over to sheriff. The peddler, the tramp, took a step forward and struck the table with his fist. The tramp, when he was told that he would be handed over to the police sheriff, he got angry and he just stepped forward and struck the table with his fist, and he just spoke that now he was going to tell the ironmaster how things are. He said, so the peddler now he talk about the world is nothing but a rigged trap, and all the good things that were offered to him were nothing but cheese, reeds, and bits of pork, set out to drag a poor fellow into trouble. So now the peddler, the red trap seller, he openly, he boldly, he told to the ironmaster that the whole world is nothing but a big rat trap, and the way he and his daughter, they invited him to his house, they offered him good food, clothes, was nothing but a big rat trap, a form, we can say that, cheese. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Ironmaster, must remember that a day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get caught in the trap. So the peddler, even he warned the ironmaster that if the sheriff comes and if he would lock him up, then The ironmaster, he should also remember that just like he was being trapped by offering food, clothes in the same way, the day will come when the ironmaster himself, he would also would be tempted in a big piece of fork, and then he would get caught in the rat trap. So one day everybody would be caught in a rat trap like him. So he warned him. The ironmaster began to laugh. The ironmaster, after listening the peddler talking about the whole world being a rat trap and he would also be caught in a rat trap, he started laughing. That was not so badly said, my good fellow. So he found something amusing. The talk of the peddler he found very funny. So, but still, the ironmaster he decided that he would let the sheriff alone on Christmas Eve. But now get out of here as fast as you can. So he dropped the idea of handing over the peddler to sheriff on Christmas Eve. But the ironmaster he told him, he ordered him to go out of his house as quickly as possible. But just